I'd like now to invite to the stage Mr. Roland Montagna, Principal Analyst from IDIT Consulting, discussing the FTTH Panorama APAC.
Thank you, Camilla, for the introduction. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So it's my great pleasure to present here the last result of the FTTH Panorama for the APAC region. This is the agenda of today, how we did the study, what are the main overview and figures, what are the main trends, and I will conclude with the key points of the panorama. So we are very honored to do this year again this FTTH Council APAC Panorama. It's the 7th edition. It's quite ambitious because we are covering here 21 countries, quite large, going from Kazakhstan to New Zealand. We try to obey really on the definition of the FTTH councils worldwide. We are measuring here only fiber to the building or fiber to the home. It is really a bottom-up approach. I mean, we are looking project by project what's happening. Then we are consolidating, looking at what are the investment, of course the figures, subscribers and home passed, the technology, the business model. And our methodology tries as much as possible to have a direct contact in the field with the players, and of course to check and cross-check these figures with the members of the FTTH APAC members. So this year, we have counted 94 fiber projects in the region. And the first thing is to say that incumbents have accelerated deployment in the region. Indeed, if you are looking here, what kind of players are deploying fiber to the home in the region, incumbents' growth rate in terms of home passed is more than 22%, and they are represented today around 80% of the FTTH home passed in all the zone, all the 21 countries. Alternative operators are progressing, 6.5, and we have to point out that some national programs also are accelerating, mainly here what's happening in Australia, New Zealand, and Singapore. Today they represent 5 million home passed for the zone. This is the global picture for the regions. So the main output this year is to see that subscription really progress very fast. So it seems that commercial success is really here in the zone today. Indeed, we see 68% growth in terms of subscribers, and we point out nearly 298 million fiber subscribers in the region. To be compared to a growth, but more reasonable, of 12% in terms of home passed, and a total of a little bit more, 436 million home passed. So because of the very strong progression in terms of subscribers, the result is that the take-up rate, which is representing for me the commercial success, has really seen a surge this year in APAC, more than 20 points, and it's representing 68% in terms of take-up rate. So it is really a record where we compare what's happening in other zones of the world, I mean Europe or LATAM or Middle East. Also in this panorama, we are looking what type of architecture are deployed, mainly comparing fiber to the building and fiber to the home. Historically, fiber to the building was quite strong in the zone, but today we see FTTH progressing. So that's why we estimate 77% of the home passed are under FTTH architecture today. Another KPI we are looking also, it's in terms of technology. It is PON, mainly GPON or EPON, but GPON is progressing versus Ethernet. And no doubt here that in Asia Pacific, PON is leading the way, representing 95% of home passed. So let's go now more in the detail in the different countries to see what's happening. First, in terms of home passed, well, no surprise that China is by far the #1 in terms of market regarding at home passed. In terms of coverage, that even overpassed the government objective. And today we estimate that China is counting 320 million home passed. Then we have 3 countries, 2 are really pioneers in terms of FTTH rollout. I mean, Japan, 52 million, and South Korea, 18 million. And the good surprise is to see a nation from the Southeast Asia now being in this ranking of the top country, I mean Indonesia, with 13 million home passed. It can be observed also that 10 countries are today counting more than 1 million home passed. This is the case here of Thailand, more than 7, and Taiwan also. I point out here India, with close to 4 million, I would say, in terms of home passed. And Australia also, it's more than 3 million. Let's look now what has been the main progression in terms of home passed. We have counted here the percentage of variation on the last year. The good news is a tremendous acceleration in Philippines, especially the involvement of PLDT, the incumbent. You see here more than 700% in terms of growth. Then always in Southeast Asia, Thailand also more 200%. I was saying that Australia is doing well. They're nearly double in terms of home passed this year. And New Zealand, the other important national program in the zone, is also around 80%. To conclude this coverage part, we are looking here. What's for me the main indicator in terms of coverage is the ratio home passed to total homes. So you see here that we have 5 countries with more than 90% of coverage. It's already nearly done in Japan and South Korea, but you have also Taiwan and Hong Kong and Singapore in these top countries. Then we have 7 countries with more than 20%. China is already at 70%. It's really incredible. Kazakhstan, more than 60%. Malaysia, more than 33%. Thailand, nearly 40%. Indonesia, nearly 21%. And I pointed out also New Zealand, 60%, Australia, 1/3. Here, India is starting to appear, but of course, potential is huge for the country as they're approaching 1.5% in terms of coverage. So that was for the rollout, the coverage and home passed. If we concentrate now where it happens in terms of commercial success, I mean in terms of subscribers, again, no surprise, China is clearly leading the way with 230 million subscribers. Then we have countries like Japan and South Korea being here in the top of this ranking, 33 million for Japan, 15 for South Korea. Other leaders, we have 8 countries with more than 1 million subscribers. Vietnam, they did progress a lot last year. They're still progressing this year. We have Taiwan and more mature markets such as Hong Kong being there, or Singapore. And I pointed out here India with approaching 1 million. The same, let's look here where it happened in terms of progression, variation on 1 year. So Australia is doing well in terms of progression, nearly 140% in terms of progression. New Zealand also is doing well. We have Thailand having a nice progress. And of course, a very strong progress in China to be reported to the volume of subscribers. This is very significant for the region with closely 90% of growth. We have Vietnam, we have Indonesia also, and I pointed out also India across 50% in terms of progression. Other markets are more reasonable or more mature, I would say, to have a strong progression like South Korea, for example. To measure this commercial success, we are measuring here the penetration rate, which is the ratio subscribers on home passed. We know that Asia Pacific is quite represented in the global ranking, a minimum of 1% of subscribers on home pass ratio, but we have here in Asia Pacific 3 countries on the top of this global ranking with a penetration rate of more than 70%. This is namely South Korea, 82%, Hong Kong, 70%, Singapore, 95%. We have 4 countries with a penetration rate between 20 and 70%, such as Vietnam or Taiwan, for example. We have 4 countries with a penetration rate of more than 10%, so progression still there in those countries. I mean, New Zealand, 18, or Australia approaching 17%. India is really native on this point with 0.5%. So, what can be said in terms of the main market trends for this edition of the Panorama? Well, again, the zone is very influenced in terms of volume by China. This is the main worldwide market in terms of subscriber today. They have only 3 players, Unicom, Telecom, and China Mobile, but those players are among the leaders in the world. Only China Telecom and China Unicom have respectively 106 million and 85 million subscribers at the end of last year. And it has to be reminded with 320 million home passed, they really overlapped the government objective before because the deadline was on 2020. Nevertheless, even in a quite mature market, such as Japan and South Korea, growth is still there in terms of subscription, 22% in Japan, 6% in South Korea. But of course, in some countries, there's still work to be done by the telco to promote fiber and to promote the switch to this technology. In terms of the highest growth in terms of subscribers, it has to be pointed out the success of national program, especially in New Zealand, but also today in Australia with open access model. We have to point out also in this progression Thailand with a quite fast evolution. Other significant markets are mainly in Southeast Asia. We have Taiwan, but we have also Indonesia and progression here in India and Philippines. What are the challenges and the drivers? First, of course, we have in the zone the most populated of the world countries, so India and China are there, so they are representing, especially India, a very strong potential. We know that in the big cities in Asia, a lot of population can live in MDUs, and this is a good sign when you are looking at the business model of fiber to the home. Just to remind you, the huge potential in terms of population, nearly 500 million of people are living, when you are doing the sum, in Bangladesh, Philippines, Vietnam, and Pakistan. So really, this represents a main reservoir in terms of growth. Also, if you compare APAC to other zones of the world, like Europe, for example, where copper can be quite good and there is quite competition between a triple play over DSL, for example, versus fiber. This is not really the case here. In many countries, there is not really a competition between copper and fiber, so there is a kind of a leapfrog directly to fiber in some of the countries. Competition can be a driver. Cable cos are not so much popular in terms of broadband market here, with some exceptions. There is China with the SAFT, but also here in India. So this can be a driver also for fiber adoption. We believe that these NBN programs are successful today. It is checked with what's happening in New Zealand and now. Also what's happening in Australia, even if the access platforms are quite different in the Australian case now. Incumbents are leading the way, but there is, we see some new entrants also in this market. We see this happening in Hong Kong, also in India here, or even in an emerging market. It has been said today, but it has to be repeated that, of course, this fiber will be used not only for residential, it will be used also for SMEs, and sometimes operators are quite forgetting that this fiber has to be also linking SMEs and has to be counted in a business plan, and also, of course, for the backhauling of LTE network today, and today for 5G and the announcement of many small cells that should appear with 5G, so it should be repeated. A little map of what we see today, how we see the market organization. In one side, we have here the maturity of market from advanced deployment to long run. And on the horizontal side, you have here the size of the market from small to large. So you can see the champions where the rollout is already done, Japan and South Korea. The heavyweight with China and India, with a lot of potential still in India today. We put here also what we call the front runner, where you can find markets such as Taiwan, New Zealand, or Australia. And one of the most important bubble, I would say, is where the growth could be in the years to come, what we call the rising star, mainly based in Southeast Asia. So there is Indonesia, there is Vietnam, there is Thailand. I put a little arrow on Philippines, because I've seen the progression this year. Some also new countries, such as Nepal, in terms of fiber, could be there. And then there is also more a question mark today, but a potential for the future when we are listing countries such as Laos, Cambodia, or Myanmar. So this is, to conclude, EDAT is quite active in all FTTX markets. So if you want to know more in terms of rollout worldwide, don't hesitate to come back to me. We have databases updated every 6 months. We have also many reports. The last slide is really a frustration for my part, because even if I am tracking fiber to the home worldwide, I even now have fiber to the home in my home. So I'm using today my child, Jules, which is 8 months, trying to convince operator to link my home with fiber to the home. Thank you very much.